I do now, I guess. Alright, page 136, surface area of a cylinder. So we talked about for the volume of any of most three-dimensional objects, at least most normal three-dimensional objects, is big B H, and big B stands for what about the base? What?
Area.
Yeah, the area of the base. So this is the area of base. For this one, it's actually a little bit more straightforward, and although surface area in general tends to be a little bit more challenging, so you basically are like, hey, what does it take to completely wrap around the surface area of the cylinder? Well, it's got one base, it's got another base. Both of those are what? How do you find the area of a circle? Pi r squared. So there's two of those, so 2 times pi times r squared. And then the other thing you have to do is basically think you're finding the distance around here. Like you'd have to imagine you're unraveling this. So the distance across the top and the bottom of that is going to be the same. It's going to be the same as the distance around the circle. What's the distance around a circle? There's circumference, which is around. Did you say diameter?
I said diameter is the middle.
Yeah, so diameter would be across, but circumference is how you get all the way around. And what's the formula for circumference? What? No, 2 pi r squared, that's area of one circle or two circles. We're just finding distance around here because that's what when you unfurl or unwrap the thing going around it, what?
Pi times diameter.
Yeah, pi times diameter is going to get you all the way around here. And you have to multiply that. Think, if you unwrap it, that's what this is right here, pi times diameter. And what is this right here? It's the same thing as this right here. The height.
What?
So pi times diameter times height.
Sorry.
So surface area of a cylinder is 2 pi r squared plus, and it is plus, not adding, because remember, think, you're basically saying, hey, pi r squared plus another pi r squared, so it's 2 times pi r squared. 2 pi r squared plus pi times diameter times height. Hi, can I help you? Who do you need?
Are you just studying now, or?
I'm teaching a math lesson right now. Who do you need though?
I just wanted to ask them a question later.
Okay. So 2 pi r squared times pi times d times height, but that's not the formula your book gives you. Why? What is the formula your book gives you on page 136? What's the difference in the
2 pi r squared plus 2 pi r h.
Isn't that a different formula though?
Yeah.
Okay, so it has 2 pi r squared. It replaces this with 2 pi r h. So pi is the same, and the height is the same. Why would we put, what's the difference between diameter and 2 times r? Yeah?
Radius is twice the diameter.
Yeah, so what's the difference between the two of them? Nothing. So why then, come on. Why then would your book say 2 pi r h instead of pi d h? Yeah, but we've usually said, when you're finding the circumference, pi times d. So it would make more sense to think about it that way. Why would the book want to give you that 2 pi r h instead? Any ideas? maybe less work. What were you saying?
Possibly because it's kind of going off of how to find the area of a circle.
Maybe. The biggest thing I would say is when you have 2 pi RH instead of here, you have one less variable. And I can see in your eyes right now, you're like, oh man, less variables, that's exactly what I want, right? You want more or less variables? You want less? There you go. So if you want less variables, you could say 2 pi RH instead of that. So those are interchangeable. If you want to write either of them or both of them in, either one of them works. Doesn't matter which one you do. I think this is more helpful for understanding like why you're getting what you're doing as opposed to just memorizing a formula. Because it's great to have the formula, but if you don't understand how you're getting or why it makes sense, then you're probably not going to be learning quite as much from it. But yeah, the whole surface area, 2 pi r squared times pi times d times h, or 2 pi RH. You can have either one of them, just make sure you have them written down, circled, boxed, stars. You can put your little highlighting things on it saying like, wow, second coolest formula of all time, or wherever your rankings of formulas are, or you don't do rankings of formulas? Oh, bummer. Anyways, we move on to example 4, and it says, hey, you've got a cylinder has a height of 15 centimeters, radius of 4 centimeters. What's the surface area of the cylinder nearest 10th? Use 3.14 to do the approximation for pi. So, what were the steps that I wrote out for you yesterday? You're supposed to write them down. You got them?
Wait, which one?
What's the first step?
Number 4?
The steps that I had from yesterday said write these down.
What you know.
What?
Write what you know.
Okay, so what do we know? What are we given on 136 example 4?
The height is 15 centimeters and the radius is 4 centimeters.
Radius is what?
4 centimeters.
Anything else?
And we have to use 3.145.
And this actually is important because there's a lot of times where your book is going to have you use 22 over 7. Because if you do 22 divided by 7, you're going to get about 3.14. It won't be exact. You'll kind of see when they get there why they tell you to use 22 over 7 instead of 3.14. I'm not going to spoil it for you. So write out what you know. What was the second thing?
Write the formula.
Okay, what's the formula?
V is V
What?
is V.
What are they asking you to find for this one?
Surface area.
So the surface area formula starts off with V. No. Surface area equals what? Surface area for a cylinder.
2
Times. Nope. Not times. Plus pi RH. And look back to think about what it actually means. Pi r squared is one of those bases. 2 times pi r squared is 2 of those bases. So that's saying, hey, pi r squared plus pi r squared. And then you're also adding in the sheath that goes around the cylinder, which is what the other thing is. So yeah, then you're adding, and what did you say, pi? Or 2 pi r squared. Or sorry, 2 pi RH, not 2 pi r squared. All right, and then what was the last thing? Fill in the parts you know. Do we know the surface area? Nope. So we keep on writing surface area. Do you know what 2 is? Yeah. We know this is 3.14. Do you know what the radius is? Yep, it's 4. So we're writing 4 squared plus 3.14. Do we know what the diameter is? 8. And what is the height? 15. I'm going to put a little arrow up there because that should be multiplying by 15, but I just, here, let's see, can I drag it? That's it. Put that into your calculator, spit it out, see if you get the right thing. Two times 3.14 times 4 squared. If you don't know where the squared button is, it's on the left side of your calculator, about halfway up. You can just hit that and it will automatically square it. Plus 3.14 times 8 times 15. Oh. I messed up one of mine. I said 2.314 instead of 2 times 3.14. Okay, I got mine. You guys get it? Got it? Got it? Check your book, see if it's the same answer in your book. Can you go see if she's got the right thing? You have it? Did you get the right thing? Okay. You wanna check on her, see if she's got the right thing typed in the calculator? Okay, well, I wanna make sure you can get it so we can move on to the next thing. Why don't you guys move on to the guide practice number 4. Same thing, list out what you know. It's as easy as 1, 2, 3. 1, list out what you know. 2, write the formula. 3, replace what you know. 4, calculator it up.
Wouldn't it be in your notebook? Why?
Alright, so you can start looking at this one. Those things, did you write down the steps from yesterday? Right here, so write what you know, write the formula, type this one. Same thing for right here. So, write what you know, so write the formula, that's the same downstairs and said, hey, take this with you, you're supposed to give permission to Sean. I don't know what you did with it from there.
Oh,
Thank you.
Yep.
Mom wants to know if he has to stay after. Do we keep him after, or do we trust him to go home and do his work at home?
Well, how trustworthy has he been to do his work at home so far?
Well, he did come with, 4.1 done today, so.
Was that what was supposed to be done?
Mhm.
And was it done to your satisfaction like it should be?
He's working on corrections.
Okay. Well, I would say if it's if he gave it his best effort and he knows what he needs to do for the corrections thing,
Do you understand the corrections, or do we need time after school? And if you get stuck at home, what are you gonna do? Yes, and in the meantime, when you're waiting for a reply, you're gonna go play a game? Okay, so, here's the Pythagorean theorem to work on at home tonight too. I still want that, okay? I will look at this and we will address it tomorrow when I'm here, okay? You have got a lot of work to do, and Mom is gonna be aware of it. You may go home at 3, but I expect to see probably a good 2 hours of math work at home.
yeah. Alright, did you guys get done with that one? What'd you get for your answer?
276.3 inches.
And?
276.3.
Yep, so 276.3 inches squared. Yeah, just fill in stuff from there. Let's go top of page 137. Says find the radius of a cylinder if the area of the curved surface is 12 pi square meters and its height is 2.5 meters. So this one is a little bit different. What's different about it? What? Okay, sure, the thing is smaller. What are they actually asking you to find though?
We're finding a different thing in this equation.
Sorry, say it again?
We're finding a different thing in this equation.
Is
Or
it the
maybe a
same
different
equation?
I
Do they
didn't
tell,
look at it.
they're telling you the area of the curved surface is 12 pi meters squared.
So not quite the same.
No. So if we write in, hey, what do we know? We know the height is to what, 2.5 meters?
Yeah.
Do we know anything else?
This is 12 pi square meters.
12 pi.
Square meters.
Okay, so this is the thing. Have we been given or dealt with just exclusively the curved surface before? No. So at this point, what do you think? Do we have any idea how to find, like, have we talked about that curved surface, the surface area of that? Yeah, we did. Where's the curved surface up here? Yeah, pi dh. That is the curved surface. So if you're going back to that formula, come on, why is this calibration so off? If you're going back to that formula, if you're writing in your notes, I would say right here, area or area of two bases, and this is the area of the, what's it called? Curved surface. Area of the two bases, area of the curved surface. So 2 pi RH or pi dh. So let's go in there and then we have to kind of tweak our steps, because usually it was write what you know. The next thing was do what? What formula are we going to have to use here now? Well, we know it's not going to be the full formula because we weren't given all the different parts. If we're given the curved surface, then we're going to have to use the curved surface with something. So let's start with that. What is the formula for the area of the curved surface? Curved, I'm just going to say CS for curved surface, is pi dh. That's what we did when we wrote up right here. Area of the curved surface, pi dh. So that's what you're gonna have to go back and look into. If you wanna write out your whole other things, surface area of bases, you can say equals 2 pi r squared. Surface area of curved surface, pi dh. You can write those in additionally, or you can just say, hey, I'm gonna go back and reference these and know that sometimes it might not be the full surface area of the cylinder that I need to be getting. So curved surface is that. Can we fill in anything that we know? What? Okay, the height is 2.5. Do we know the diameter? Nope. Do we know what pi is?
No.
We don't? It doesn't tell us?
No.
Oh, you're right, it doesn't. So what does that mean? Yes and no. So technically you could, but what that means here, it says I see. You'll see where they're getting at. Just leave it from where it's at right now. You'll see what they're getting at. You're actually doing less work by not doing anything with pi right now. What's the curved surface? Do we know what the area of the curved surface is? 12 pi. Not 11. 12 pi. So now, how do we solve that? What do we got to do to solve it? You could divide by 2.5 on both sides. What's the first thing that you can, there's one thing that you can divide by on both sides that if you get rid of it, it's going to make everything way easier. Pi. Say, hey, I'm going to divide by pi. Hey, I'm going to divide by pi. And could you have done 3.14 times 2.5, 3.14 times 12 on both sides? Sure, you could have done that, but then you would have ended up getting rid of it and actually would have been an extra step. So here we divide by pi, divide by pi. Now we have d times 2.5 equals 12. What do we got to do? Divide by 2.5 on both sides. What's called divide by 2.5? You can use calculators. 4.8?
Yeah.
Is that what the question was asking for?
It was asking for the radius.
Yeah, it's asking for the radius, so we need to do what with this? Divide by 2, which is 2.4 what?
Meters.
There you go. Yes, it's a little bit more complicated process, but you can kind of see the bones of it are pretty much the same. The same steps still hold up to what you're doing. You just need to say, hey, here's the height, here's what I know, here's the formula I'm using. The formula is a little bit different because you're not finding out the same thing. They're not saying, hey, here's the surface area of the whole thing. And then you solve it for what it is. Would you have gotten a different answer if you actually would have multiplied 3.14? No, you wouldn't have. Because the 3.14 basically would have undone itself still. I mean, you would have gotten the 3.14 times 2.5, and then you would have divided by whatever 3.14 times 2.5 is over here. And it would have been like, think, it's an extra pi right here, it's an extra pi right here. You'd have done 12 times that, 2.5 times that, and then you would have undone the multiplication by pi that you did for both of them, and you would have gotten the exact same answer, 4.8. So it doesn't matter which one. If you're like really nervous about like, oh, I don't want to make that same mistake. It doesn't matter. Yes, it's an extra step that you'll be taking, but you're still going to get the same answer, even if you forget to do that. Guided practice. I'm going to skip. Here's day 2.